Garlic Animate asks, what programs are best for digital drawing? So I've talked about this a few times on previous videos, but the programs I use for digital art, the one I use the most is Clip Studio Paint. It's what you'll see me working on in most of my videos. It is a program that is built for comics and manga and digital art. It's very inexpensive for a drawing program. I think it goes for like $50, $50 to $100. I have to look at the site again. I can't remember. And it has features that are specific for comics, such as panel layouts, effects, screen tones, etc. My dog's running around upstairs. You can hear her go peta peta peta. Right, so it's great for a lot of comic-specific stuff. It's a very powerful tool. I guess for the price it's at, it's very comparable to Photoshop. Admittedly, Photoshop has a lot more in the way of photo editing, and Photoshop is definitely better for printing, but Clip Studio, like the most recent versions, do support animation, just the way Photoshop does. I haven't played around with the animation part of it, but I know it's there. But yeah, it has a lot in the way of different brushes you can find. There's lots of custom brushes you can find online. A lot of professionals use it, and it's a very solid tool all around. I highly recommend it. I got it when I switched over from PC to Mac, because I couldn't get any... Up until then, I'd been using Paint Tool Sci, and I couldn't find Paint Tool Sci for the Mac, so I was like, well, because when I switched over, it was not very affordable to get Photoshop. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll try this Clip Studio thing out, and I really like it. Yeah. I'd actually find it very comparable to Paint Tool Sci, which is another great digital art program. Again, it's built for digital, I believe. Shoot, maybe I shouldn't talk in detail because it has been a few years since I've used it. But like I said, before I switched to Mac, it is what I use pretty exclusively for a lot of my digital art. It's got some wonderful brushes. I especially like the watercolor brushes in Sci. But yeah, very solid tool, very easy to use. Again, it lacks a lot of the photo manipulation stuff that Photoshop has. It does not support animation as far as I know. But yeah, very good, solid tool to use. And then Photoshop, of course, is one that I use all the time. I use it when I'm working on something for print that isn't black and white, because Clip Studio Paint does not support CMYK, which are ink values that you use when you're printing, but Photoshop does support those. So when I'm doing something for print, so like the book cover or, a color book or something that I'm planning to print, I will use Photoshop because it's much easier to get the colors correct. Photoshop also has a lot of great tools for graphic design and layout stuff. It has a lot of smart guides where you can drag things around and it'll indicate if you've hit the center of the canvas, so you can align objects a lot easier than you can in, say, Clip Studio. I mean, you can use ruler lines and grid lines in both programs, but Photoshop definitely makes that a bit easier. So again, it's really great for if you're doing, say, a print book and aligning, say, text elements on a cover. Both Clip Studio and Photoshop support vector stuff as well to a small degree. They're not vector programs like, say, Illustrator, but they both allow you to make, say, a vector shape for a speech bubble or something. So yeah, they're both pretty much on par. Photoshop I use for print, Clip Studio I use for digital and black and white comics. So yeah, I guess it just depends on what you want. I think I've talked about this before, but a lot of the programs are very affordable these days. Admittedly, Photoshop CC is a subscription, whereas Clip Studio you can buy outright. So it just depends on, I guess, your financial situation, but there's a lot of stuff available. I've also tried out Autodesk Sketchbook. It's a free program. I think you can upgrade it to get a wider variety of tools. If you just download the app, it's very basic. You can do 1 or 2 layers. It has brushes and seems to be just for digital. I used to use it on my phone and just doodle when I was waiting for the bus. So yeah, if you're just starting out and you want to play around with digital, I'd recommend that because one, it's free, you can doodle, you can hang out on your phone with it. It seems like a pretty solid program. So those are basically all the tools that I use for my digital work. I do use Adobe Illustrator and a program called Sketch for vector art. I use those for my work, like my day job, where I do a lot of vector artwork, whereas in comics I don't use it as much. But using Illustrator is great for, say, if you want to do a t-shirt design, because having a vectorized image will make it a lot easier for the silk screener to print it. So that's a handy tool to have. Sketch is more for like website layout and say UI design. So I maybe wouldn't recommend it for if you're gonna use it to make t-shirts and stuff. But it's still a tool that's pretty affordable and you can do vector art with it. And finally, I also use InDesign, and when I say that, I mean Bones uses InDesign to format all of our ebooks and when we put books into print, because it's a lot easier to format like the bleeds and the page layouts in InDesign. So that's another good one to invest in when you're doing print stuff. Overall, my favorite is probably Clip Studio. It's just great for making comics, and yeah. I am always singing its praises because it's my favorite program so far. Photoshop's a close second. So yeah, there we go. Those are the tools I recommend for digital art. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you have any questions or if you'd like to submit a video topic, please leave a comment down below. I will be answering all the art questions and Bones will answer all the writing questions. Maybe one day when he makes a hacking video. Bones. Okay, he's editing this, so he'll hear me. Okay, thanks again for listening. I'll see you guys next time. I've only got, 9 more days of this challenge. I can't believe it. How did I get here? Who am I? Whee! Okay, goodbye.